the human condition and before this time and space, you have been told that ye humans are gods. That's number 2. You've also been told ye are gods, yet you're going to die like men. So that's the condition you're in. That's it. In the beginning is the Word. Ye are gods, yet you're going to die like men. Why is that? Because you're not paying attention to, in the beginning was the Word. You've been told your words create things, your thoughts create things. You create your own reality. The you that has been told that is under the influence of other yous. You haven't found your you yet, really. You're finding all these other influences, which sometimes pertain, sometimes work, most times not. For you're in the process of dying. You are, in the understanding of this, in the spiritual world, living your death. The process to understand that is within the wisdom of the self. Now, the wisdom of the self understands reincarnation. It understands a birth this time. Doesn't necessarily reflect on births previous to this, yet some of the memories come through. The purpose of not remembering in those experiences is because they weren't correct. So you've got a new space where you can manipulate time for the present self, and understanding in the beginning was the Word. Prior to in the beginning was the Word was the idea of what thought is. But there was no Word. Put you up here. Now the toss. Please. Make it function. Put you here.
A sparky moment.
A sparky moment. I think he's the one doing the channeling. So you've lost your inner, your own personal inner thought form, your own unique divine I amness. You've lost it because you forgot the inner thought contemplates the production of the Word. The inner thought contemplates the production, the producing of the Word for the creation. Right? Now, first man was Adam. Understand that in a concept, in the concept. First woman, Eve. You understand that in the concept.
Those are actually allegories, they are not.
Well, in the understanding of what a command is.
Okay.
Right? In the what you beings like the word create.
Okay.
Yet it's much more than that. It's an order, a command. And it's demonstrated in your books, your Bible, in the Quran, and in other mystical texts. The texts are really mystical. Now you have, we've pointed out the importance of the Psalms, yet they've been misunderstood in the manner. What you have here in your book, you say, is the Bible. This is the story. You have the... What are you doing? You have the reincarnation experience through the production of the form called Adam and Eve, through that whole book. You have the entity that is known as Jesus. That was through what's called, understand, you say, the line of David. Well, that was the entity, Jesus. And that was the ones where the Psalms came from, all of them, 150. And then the entity called Jesus comes in and calls his disciples at that time frame. Yet he goes to the mountain and he gives another prayer, which is a condensation of the 150 Psalms. He squeezed it all down to one. It's the same being. And he presented it on the mountain. That's how you communicate, to get back to understanding the thought self in union with the Word.
That was the Our Father.
Yeah, yes, that one. Yet there's more to it, because he was explaining a conceptualized, a contracted, compressed version of all of those Psalms into one unified piece for simplicity. Because at that time the beings were simple. They didn't understand the importance of the positioning of words for the resulting expression to come forth. In other words, didn't understand that the words are really coming from you, commands to elemental forces that understand the divinity of the human condition, because it's already been claimed that you are gods. They have to obey this God concept, the elemental understanding. Yet that has what has been perverted now. You're caught in it. You're caught. You're at the mercy of the elements now. You do not consider the elemental beings called fire. You do not consider the elemental beings called water. You do not consider the elemental beings called air, nor do you consider the elemental beings of the earth. You don't. And you have a fifth element there.
Wood.
This.
Yes.
The nature and the sanctity of wood, because it's a representation of life, pumping water, expressing itself, forces unified there, and it's a representation of the simplicity of your bones. The same. Your bones are similar. You're going in the functioning of self. You think they're just in there and you're moving them. Yet the bones have a conscious love for the physical heart. That's why they produce the blood for it, to sustain the heart. The bones do that for you because there's a connection there. The bones want to embrace the heart, yet they can't. They do it through the production of the blood from the marrow. There's an embrace within the heart. Blood flows through the heart. Yet the heart has an embrace there, hugging the memory of the bones. Because they know the heart and the reincarnational aspect of yourself, your spiritual invisible self that resides in you, knows the importance of the hearts and the bones, and it knows how the bones came about. The bones came about from a command, and that was given in your book, how to do it. It was exactly the words to do. Yet, agreeably, the words have been changed. They've been changed, altered for one, so they make it, what do you say, read easier. Well, each generation has different interpretations. So the read easier just lost what the beginning of the word was, how it is done.
I'm going to tell that to my editors.
And the space and time you beings are involved with now is not nurtured. Space and time needs to be nurtured, so the understanding from the word can be felt, analyzed within the say you, and acted upon, waiting for the result of the production. Yet you're not trained that way in your human condition now. You are trained to obey everyone else in social consciousness, you say, in the thought streams, you say, in your media, you say, and this influence and that influence, and it feels this way and it feels that way. They're working your water body. Yes, you don't know that. You hear the words and you think this, yet the influence is in the water body of you, which is 70% of you. Right? So that's the overlay now. You're going through this portion now where you're going to understand a word when it's heard from the space. There'll be nobody there, and you're going to start hearing these things, a word at a time. Not long sentences, won't be big paragraphs. It'll be a voice, and you'll know it'll be a voice, and you'll hear it. This is what's going to begin to occur in June. It's already started, but it's going to be more profound for ones now in your June. And what is going to be the disconcerting factor is, in your lifetimes, you have a period of rest you call sleep, where you can simply escape, get away from things, or so you think, and wake up fresh the next. Well, you're getting a collapse in space. Space is shifting, and the human condition utilizes time to anchor space. That's what you do, to anchor with other people's conditions and things at this time, and you're late and you're not on time and all this thing. Yet space is the movement, and in space, let me get this in a manner here. We're putting this in the manner. In space, as it shifts, as two sugar cubes together, if you push them side by side, they grind together. There's not a slippery pressure. When you do it with space, it creates a voice. It creates a sound. It creates a color. And those sounds and colors, from your perspective, has to manifest as a voice. Yet it's just sounding. It's just color and sound. Sound first, then the color. And you're learning to appreciate that in your body. How say you? Quiet times. When you move into your quiet time, you begin to hear the beings within the space. These beings that are within the space are part of your reincarnational family that are not incarnate in the physical yet, or do not desire to be, yet want to assist you. They have more of awareness. Yet in the human condition, there's this fear factor that you beings seem to be enjoying. You have your scary movies and all of this thing to perpetuate the nonsense, instead of the natural enjoyment of the space that you're in. The natural enjoyment of the air, the water, the earth, the fire, the nature that moves around you, the birds, the bees. There's something moving them. Not just the bee itself moving itself. There's another force there moving the bee, moving the bird, moving the water, moving all things. And this force, that's an invisible force, you can't see it unless it wants to be seen, wants itself to be seen by you, because it'll sort of change its angle in space so you'll see it be like saran wrap, clear light energy, but it has form and power. It moves through everything, all of the time, everywhere, every when. It's not a function of time. It has no desire to participate within time. It has a joy in moving itself over the mountain, down the side of the mountain like a slide, to all riding the river on it by itself, vaporizing into the mist and air, becoming visible and not visible. This we didn't start. So I'll start now. You have yours.
We will put it in Dropbox.
That's good. So, in that process that you're in now, the experience of space moving is going to begin to be physically, emotionally, and mentally perhaps understood. But physically, emotionally, you're going to experience the space. You're going to find yourself walking in a direction, yet one of your legs is not going in that direction. You feel like there's another leg over you. And you feel that the right leg gets it, and then the left leg, and then your spine starts getting it. Because the bones now are going to end up paying attention to the original commander, which is yourself before you had the reincarnational experience first time. Before you had the first, your physical idea, self, you, that's within the heart chakra, that's within the heart, that's within the cave of the heart, your first birth memory is coming back. And the how to do it is the result of you now. So all of your lifetimes are going to sort of accumulate into a power moment of an amness and a recognition of it without judgment, because you needed every single experience you've ever had to be where you are now, or you wouldn't be where you are now. You had needed every single jot and tittle for that moment of the nowness to understand yourself. Right? This is what's going to begin to open in June for the understanding of the individual self, not the understanding of everybody else's self. No, the understanding of the moment of you. Now, the moment of you, when that happens, the solar plexus expands in great joy and love. It opens itself completely to receive itself. It's like it's receive yourselves. It's like the great love of you is coming to you. And it's you. It's you. All of yous. All of your incarnations coming to one without judgment. It's the bliss of the knowledge of having made it this far. That's the first opening in June. And then you're going to get another opening in your September and another one in December. But the September one is going to be built upon what you have allowed to understand of yourself in your June month. The appreciation for yourself. Whether or not anyone else appreciates you, that doesn't matter. The fact that you are aware that you can breathe, you can see, you can hear, you can feel. Maybe not all of them at the same time. Some are in great difficulty. But you allow the opening. And you remember that in the beginning was the word. So you say the word, the command for the eyes to see. And then you call forth the being of you that knows how to do that. Every human being has the capacity to heal himself in a moment. Whether you want to or not is another story. Some beings enjoy the sickness because they're waited on by others. That is the concepts. Yet the understanding in this thing is a phase of ignorance of the design of the beauty and divinity of the self. It's a phase of ignorance in the design of the beauty of the self and the divinity of it. So when the human condition can get back to its divinity, understanding itself as divine, you're going to see a tremendous change in consciousness flow, because the river will change. It'll be like you put a diverting block in social consciousness. So the social consciousness river hits the diverting block, and you flow into a new river of your selves above social consciousness. You're going to literally find out where your mind is. Yes? It's in your thoracic area here, truly, from the interior portion of your being in your chest. Your mind is going to have to will ride above social consciousness. You will allow everyone to think what they think, and you'll feel the power just above your lower back, below the heart chakra. As you do it, you'll be like a boat above social consciousness, not worried about this, that, and the other, what everyone else thinks, whatever their judgments are, whatever anger they have, whatever play they think they're playing. The word is going to start having more than a vibrational effect. It's going to have a healing effect, or a detrimental effect, depending how you use it. Yet the detrimental effect's going to go away, because you're going to actually go through a period where you won't be able to speak. when the clearing begins, because it'll be shut off. Inappropriate behavior, inappropriate talk, inappropriate thought will be shut off. You'll think you can't think anymore, which is going to be very appropriate. So you'll get a newness in your mind. You'll have abilities that have always been there but have never been utilized. And it'll create a opening in the synapses that are closed in the right side of your brain. There's going to be more of a unification of the sides of the brain. That's why when you meditate and you sew the halves of the brain together with the lavender light, you're creating the unification to bring all of your incarnational selves present for this moment of joy. You're the one that made it and pulled them all together. And it also goes with your genetic line, because you beings are the ones that are applying this particular understanding as best you can, and it affects your genetic line because they didn't do it. You're the last ones there, so to speak. Not meaning the children yet, because the children haven't got the understanding. They can't get it until the parents get it. Some do have already, and they're coming to this frightening world. They understand. They have to shut everything off because they're functioning in a confused society. Now, the kingdom that people reflect upon and desire in the prayer thing is an understanding that it's in your head. That's why the representation of crowns upon heads means something in your physical world for kings and queens and that sort of thing. But you're all that you forgot how to work in your own kingdom. The flesh, the skin, the muscles, the tendon, the sinew, they're all overlays. They're overlays that you move through. As you would through a transparency upon another transparency, and then you see the whole thing. You're going through your overlays. By this I mean how you did it. Most of it's automatic because you don't know how to breathe correctly yet. You don't know how to think correctly. You're lucky your heart beats for you. You don't know how that's being accomplished. You have a little battery in there that creates a static charge for the call. It's a call for life. And it's a pleasure when it beats to answer that call. It's like a phone thing. And it just goes and does it because it enjoys it. And it knows the little battery in there that beats the heart, that calls the blood, that the bones are producing. It knows you. It knows the self. Not the self that's in the mirror. It knows the self that's in the feeling of the heart. In the 4 chambers, it's a beat. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And it's a representation of the beat of the 4 elements. You're the 5th element, the wood, the bone. It's a communication with the 4 elements when that heart beats. The conscious understanding of that is not there. It's not there. The first chamber, upper right chamber, is in conjunction with the element of air. The upper left chamber is in conjunction and communication with the element of water. The lower left chamber is in conjunction, unification, communication with the element of earth. And the lower right chamber is in communication and understanding with the element of fire. Yes. And it goes through that way. It comes through here, and for your recycling of the oxygen into the first chamber to be oxygenated. It comes through the fire for the perpetuosity of it. Enjoyment of the earth over to the right, and out through the water, which is 70% of you, is the thankfulness for the fluid condition, which is the one that understands emotion. That's why water is connected to emotion. That's why the soul was designed to accumulate the emotional understanding in the planet. And once the soul has the wisdom of what emotion is, from the reaction and application of words, you've moved yourself into another frequency. You've allowed yourself to act with the true beings that oversee you, like the ones from Andromeda and the ones from the Pleiades, and you felt the goosebumps. This is what's occurring. They want to present and be with, but they don't want to move into a dirty density. They're trying to raise it so everyone can be in a clean place. And right now you're not. Your thoughts are not there. Neither are your words. So you're going through this process of, we'll say, as as others have said, you're preparing for contact. And you're using these phrases, unidentified flying objects, extraterrestrials, aliens. You beings are really the unidentified flying objects. You're really the aliens. You're really the extraterrestrials, because you care nothing about your terrestrial planet, pretty much. So you don't see yet that the attraction for the outside extraterrestrials to come to rescue you don't see that isn't inappropriate yet. They're already here. They're not coming. They don't have to go anywhere. It's just that they want to present themselves to you because you're not worthy to present yourself to them. You're coming in ragged, dirty clothes and thoughts. And you're in the process of cleaning the act up humanity is. Eventually you're going to understand this. And this is why you term nature gets upset. Hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes, floods. You're the ones that are supposed to be controlling this with your thoughts, but you're not. You haven't even been able to stop the tip of your planet. It's already tilted. They're changing the numbers on the runways for airplanes because the magnetics have changed. They've done that 4 years ago, and they're going to change again. That means the magnetic headings have changed. That means your thought process is not the same as it was a few years ago, though you think it is, because it's a magnetic force of thought. It's attractive force. Magnetics and gravity are not really understood. It's a pleasure to walk upon the planet with gravity. You beings call the Gaia the mother. She does not speak. She uses the human condition to speak through. But you don't understand that completely yet, or you wouldn't be saying some of the things you've been saying. So she's reacting now. You're getting the earthquakes and the volcanoes. You've got water in your planet. You've got fire in the center of the planet. The water's being boiled. You have a huge ocean inside the planet. You have worlds inside the planet. They're coming out. They're coming up. And the preparedness has not been accomplished yet. An awareness may be there, awareness little, but the preparing for it. It's like preparing for a wedding feast. You dress up for this. You present yourself, you clean, you go into your thoughts for a grand celebration. That's what's really beginning to happen. But it will not be the grand celebration you think it is because your actions and your words don't suit. That's why it is important, in a way, to find a prayer. Now, I say to find one because you all had one which is what gave you this lifetime. Because you don't know how you got here. And it was a junction between your prayer in your spirit world, when you are not in the body and you're in this other place, and the unification between whatever the parents were thinking at the time of your conception. That's the link. Now, if you say you beings have difficulty with your parents at times, yet your prayer and their quest or whatever process and thoughts they were in, they're united. So you need to allow yourself to understand what your prayer is, and if you had difficulty in your childhood with your parents, then you need to allow the knowing that that prayer was not appropriate at the time. But there was a thought that directed you there. There was a thought that directed you. And you being the human condition, are in a self-correcting process. Eventually you will learn to correct yourselves, because you're the only ones that are going to figure it out. They're your organs, they're your bodies. You have more than one body. Right now you have 3 spiritual beings, everyone does, overlooking you, trying to merge with you, trying to come into your body from the left side, right side, and from the center to unify the 2 sides. That's what's happening. But it's an individual process, and the acknowledgement of that process is very difficult to receive here, because no one really knows about it. So this is why in your traditional shamanic teachings, a lot of the masters within that utilize beads, because they take you up the spinal column. They take you up to a centeredness of yourself and a touch with the fingers to center and place you in the self, so the soul can feel itself as it works the word. And in the beginning, there was only one word, because that's what it said. It doesn't say words. You need to know what that word is in the self. It is a word that reflects this meaning: I am. But that's 2 words. You need to find out what the one word for you is. It's an isness. It belongs to what you term the being who is understood as id. And in your psychology, you know what id is, or have an understanding of it. Yet id is a being, a conceptual understanding. And there's a house called id, the house of id. And it's a noble house. And it understands the meaning of id. You have these beings, druids. The Druze followed id, and they knew. And the understanding and the teaching of that is the self. Yet it got convoluted, let's say. Because you're in it now. You know you have an id, an ego. Yet what is it? The teachings of all the, shamans, the magicians, the seers, it's available to everyone now. It is in your line. And this is what's going to occur in your June, the great opening. And the June is your month for the understanding of home, Cancer, the understanding of home, the place that you can go that is home, feels comfortable like a home should, or the understanding of home. That's the opening that's going to happen within, the space within yourself. You feel it. And the same would be the understanding of home is where the heart is, but there's a whole new concept there, and where the pleasure of home is, you find out that it's the earth is the home. And the pleasure of the experience of others at home, without the controlling understanding that has been perpetuated now. So you're in this great awakening process. You're going to be more willing to accept yourself as the self is, and the pleasure of the self and the enjoyment of it. And what does that do? That leads to more health. It leads to the enjoyment of the heart in just seeing things. Because the heart has an eye. And that's the eye in the triangle that you beings see in your representation of Masonic traditions. That's the eye of the heart. It's really what it is. And it's inside a triangle, which is a representation of the soul. So the soul sees and knows. And then you see and know. And you're not worried about seeing and knowing because you already are an I am presence as God. And that's the recognition of it. It moves you into an intense period of safety in the inner self without confusion. And then you have the abilities to work with other masters for more accumulation of presence. And that's why a lot of beings, when they come, wish not to speak, because they vibrate at an energy field that should be known. So you're in that movement now. And what begins to occur is the animal kingdom starts noticing the change in the human condition, and it reacts differently. And the human condition starts noticing a change within the animal condition, and it reacts differently. Yet the animals are the first to pick it up, because they vibrate at a level of what is termed trust, in your understanding of their movement in space. The human condition is not in that trust level yet. It's a fear-based condition. So to get over the fear-based condition, you need to understand the purpose of prayers and the spacing of the words there. Now you have the Lord's Prayer that was given by Jesus on the mountain. You can say that, yes, and most people do very fast, but if you say it and pause between the words, you'll get another feeling and another presence come. What will happen is, from your perspective, you'll feel the angelic force supporting you in knowledge. You'll feel it. You'll feel it. Oh, that's what that's for. That's what that's for. That's what that's for. That's what that's for. Because you're all pilots of your own vessel. And you're in flight school, whether you know it or not. You're learning to fly and you're learning to land. Yet you don't know the importance of sleep yet in that in-between phase. So there's a lot going to be discordant in the sleep phase. So you acknowledge it and thankful for the opportunity to rest. And then let the subconscious, which is what you beings term the subconscious, the ancient part of yourself, come forth to gather the wisdom and safety. And it appreciates the fact. Because sometimes quite a majority of the time, the soul does not want to be in the body. It looks for excuses to leave at times. That's what creates this disease. That's what creates this opportunity for other beings to come in to produce these suicidal thoughts and things. And you're seeing a lot of that. So you need to stabilize and not. Be thankful for the breath and the space, and understand when you shift, space will shift. It has to. And so too will other things that come into your presence. So you go literally going through the feeling process of this, the feeling interiorly. And what will happen as you go through this process, the pyramid is like this, you move from the bottom up. As you go, you can't bounce from side to side as far as you used to. You're going to come to the top of the knowledge. And then as you come to the top, which is the apex at the throat, that apex will extend to the crown, and then there'll be a line of light that comes straight down through you. Straight down through you. And what it'll do, it starts healing yourself first, and then it starts healing others in your presence without them even knowing it. There'll be a change in the frequency. They'll have to. Actually, they'll want to, but they don't know how to petition for it. So you do it gently, and you do it without any show. You do it with compassion, as you're slowly taking a bandage off a baby, or unwrapping it so it doesn't hurt. That's what's happening. The little ones, what I call the little ones, within ones, are coming up and out and want to be acknowledged. That's the Buddha one that sits in you. It's going to stand. The one that has the wisdom of all of this. And then you're going to begin to understand what appreciation is for certain things. Not physical objects, but for the fact that the invisible still care for those that are visible. There's that powerful knowledge there. You see? Okay. Yeah. So, what you're in your April month, you're moving through a preparedness now for, a dynamic health increase and a rejuvenation in the youthfulness of your body, the youth of you, the youngness. And as you allow that youthful feeling to come, and that is why beings now are going through the thoughts of their youth, having memories of patterns of growing up through things. If you understood it correctly, you would understand that's youth chemistry activated within you. You don't need to judge things like that. You're in another space of time and thought, but it is youth there. It is health. And if you can let yourself just reflect in the space of the health without the judgment of the experience, you'll understand what youth really is, and then your chemical process of appreciation of yourself. Because when you were younger, in your years, your teens and your 20s, you say, and your 10s, you did appreciate yourself. You did, even though others around you didn't, but you did because you knew you were living more than you were before, because you're getting older and you enjoy it and you're looking forward to getting older. Yet when you go back, you're in a youth chemistry. And that's what heals everything. That's how you go back before the illness, in order to cure the illness and come forward. We've said that before. This is the process of manipulation of space. And then time is adjusted for it. And timing in the body is a whole other thing, because that's an age factor. As you go through time, you have a subconscious inclination of getting older, which is not true. You're actually becoming younger if you really understood yourself. That's why they're going through the Alzheimer's phase in chemistry in the brain, because there's a desire for youth. But know that you are that already, then you don't have the conditions. You see? So this is why this year is so dynamic and so powerful, because you're going to have the ability to, individuals, heal themselves and be in a youthful concept and know you're going to grow older type thing. But you're going to, it's like a training in muscular development, lifting weights and something. You keep participating, you get stronger. You go back to your youthful energy of feeling and then come forward again. Youthful energy of feeling, come forward again. Just a little bit. And space shifts, because you will act differently. And you perceive yourself differently. And the chambers of the heart will react differently, because they're elementals. And they are conducive to the support of life. That's what they're for. And they are kings and queens in the elementals. So there's need to, and they are very kingly and very queenly. Very forceful beings. They have power. And you need to understand that. They are not to be disrespected, yet in the condition that you beings are working in now, they are, the elementals. So you're coming out of a trap, so to speak, a closed box. It's going to open, and the acknowledgement of the divinity of all beings and the safety of self is what is most important to be understood now. The being that supports life in everything supports life. That's what it does. It's life itself. There's nothing else. Not death, not competition. It's not. It's life. It knows what life is. It's life. It's life. It's life. And then there's another force. It'll be the love of life, and that's another total understanding within you, which is the acknowledgement that you are alive. You can move within a condition of limited behavior. That's another unique concept that has to be understood. You're under the protection now, I will say this much, of the beings from Andromeda, if you want to move into the UFO understanding or the ET thing. Yet there's a distinct pleasure there if you would understand Greek mythology, how it came through the teachings then in the meanings. Don't get too caught up in the words, but there's an energy force there that would explain the protection given for the selves here, those who desire to understand more, learn more, and be at peace and pleasant with others. So that's the main force working here now. So, very ancient force. And the being that placed that constellation there knows it. And the space between the stars is a robe of the being, you would say.
The Andromeda constellation.
Yeah, all of the stars around
No,
this.
but you said the being that placed that constellation there. That's the Andromeda one, right?
The being that placed the Andromeda
Yeah,
constellation. Yes, yes, there. As it placed all the stars, pretty much, in a way, in a manner.
Oh, the same being. Oh.
But through ones. The being influenced one to place the stars, being influenced another place, but it's on this one being's robe. We have to say being, yet it's not a being. It's a space of...
It's the void.
you would say, yet it has consciousness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
It is.
it's the Creator's Father, actually.
Yes, it's.
Yeah, we're encompassed by that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it wants to present itself.
Ah.
Right?
Okay.
But you have to be very careful here, and it's going to do it, pretty much. For not its acknowledgement, but for the self-acknowledgement of those that have studied and persisted in accumulating wisdom for themselves and others in what you call the sanctity of the human condition. The way it's supposed to be, the way it was designed to be. So that's what's occurring now. And it's a very gentle process, we wish it to be, because otherwise it could be very disconcerting. For instance, a tsunami has everyone change their opinions of the oceans and those things, and weather and tornadoes. So we need to calm these situations down, and June gives us the opportunity to do that. It's a preparing thing. So the point of the whole thing is, the word was the beginning, and then you beings came to understand what prayer was, or supplication, or however you want to put it, and how it works. And they couldn't get it then. There were so many prayers. So you were given one to start with. And then as the wisdom accumulates within you, you can find the more older ones. And then there's only one word there, actually. And that's thank you. There's only one word. With the acknowledgement of who the thank is for. Thank you is for. And there's a being named thank you that protects us.
Really?
Yeah. Thank you protects us from our own ignorance. What are you finding at? He's okay. He's just doing a little thing there. Okay, so we have a description, I guess would be say that as the skies open, you will see yourself and be on a plane of wisdom, a spiritual golden plane of wisdom. And it just vibrates through you. And then you'll know, you allow yourself to know, because the vibration will start in your feet and move up. And then the confirmation of that understanding is pushed down on you, and it merges in the solar plexus. And then you will be in a manner of grace, of thank you, because you don't know how really you deserved it, that you're preparing to, but there's more coming than you could possibly imagine. And everyone on the planet is working to be worthy of that deserving influence as it comes, because it's health, the body, mind, and spirit, especially the spirit right now, and it's strength through the body, mind, and spirit. Because strength comes from the earth herself. That's where it comes from. That's what gravity is for. So you accumulate strength in the physical conditions. Just by walking, you're stronger. Right. One other little tidbit I might add. As you go through these months, it's going to be very necessary to keep your fingers flexible, and particularly the mount of the thumbs, because that's the love mount, the mount of love in your body. That is where it's stationed in knowledge, right? Hidden, but it's there. And you need to keep it flexible and open, because the fingers are going to have a difficulty here. There'll be a tendency to try to grab things, don't grab. Things will be given and presented. It's like going to the king's table. You don't go rushing and grab food off. You wait till you're served on your plate. That sort of thing. Yeah. You're moving into that manner. That's who's coming. That's what's coming. That's what's coming. All right. Now what we'll say... This won't be transcribed, but I'll say this. As in channelings, this one, the holder of this body form has been on those marble steps where the foot was, and his head just looked at the gold ankle.
Yes, he told me.
So this is what is coming. And the being is to stand. The being's to stand. So what information your channels are getting and giving now is preparation for that being standing. Everywhere. 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 So it's a delicate phase now. It's like fine embroidery. Very fine, very fine. And that fine embroidery, yet it is fine, is what protects you. Very delicate, yet it is so delicate it can invert to an iron curtain of protection. So that's the subtleties of what you're working with now. Interiorly in the self and the soul and the wisdom and the understanding of why you had this incarnation and for what reason. It's not just to have it. It's for the perpetuosity of the human condition that there's knowledge coming of some sense of safety. And divinity for everyone. It's available. It's going to be available without the fear.
That golden ankle is Jesus?
What was that?
the golden ankle, who is that?
Yes.
Jesus?
Yeah.
Yes.
A little bit more. More. He didn't stop.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I know who he was.
Yeah.
He's the one that dangled the thread to the Creator that started this whole Explorer Race experiment. He was on the other end to create this whole thing. Right?
Well, yes, in your understanding of the create, yet it's more of an order, command.
Well, but he put it out, and somebody had
Yes.
to pick it up, and
Yes.
our Creator picked it up
Yes.
because he was sort of young and didn't realize that
There was a knowledge-based thing
dangers.
working there.
Yeah,
So you're in that now,
yeah.
right? You're in that now. And those cords are attached to those who said they're going to accomplish the mission, pretty much.
Let's do it.
That's what's happening now.
Okay.
It's a union of a great web, actually.
Yes,
See,
I saw that. It goes to the mother of all beings.
everything.
This is beautiful, fantastic, brilliant.
So we need the understanding of the movement of the four elements through the heart and the youthfulness of yourself when you think back to your childhood. You're
Now
thinking
this
in-
should be in the article. He should do this part.
yes,
Yeah.
your youthfulness is the chemistry of yourself. And it's also the fond memory of yourself, really. There might be fear there, but there's a knowledge of self there that needs to be understood in its youthful capacity. Youth. And then, because youth has a great ability for vision of things, eh? It does. It experiences everything, wants to do all of that. So that energy there gives the brain new opportunities to experience processes of thought and the result of it. I have to phrase it that way. So you're going to find out your divine experiment within yourself, and the acknowledgement of that experiment is you, and the result will be you, not an exterior result.
Each one of us is an experiment. Cool.
More than that, you're going to like it when you find out how healthy you can be.
Let me ask, this is not to be transcribed. The body, the being that created this body had a pretty difficult time and sort of made a concrete suit around herself. Is there any way I can go back to the youth of some other incarnation, like Pachamama or something?
Pachamama?
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're going to take you, well, I'll tell you this. We're going to take you back to the fetus, right? And the expression coming out.
I didn't want to come out.
I understand that.
I fought for hours.
I understand that.
She did.
And so we're going to take you back there
Yeah.
so you can understand, okay, the why of all of this and the power involved there,
Yes.
right? So once you get that, because there was a
Goosebumps.
how you say, not wanting to come out, you said.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So
Fought.
that's an argument with the power. So you're going to work and, I understand now.
And I've been arguing ever since, for Christ's sake.
Yes.
Yes. Be nice not to have
So
to
now
go.
now you're going to accumulate that power. You're going to find out why and how and have it. You see.
Wow. Yes.
And how to work it.
Okay.
And how you're being worked, all of that. And the process just before. Because with you there was a particular experience going on when the seed was planted. So we need to get that in there too. So you can understand
Yeah, because according to Zosha, I was supposed to be born beautiful like Elizabeth Taylor in a Jewish family in New York, and I made a turn and went to this dysfunctional farm family, and yeah, why?
for safety reasons.
For safety.
It had to be kept hidden.
Really?
Yes. You'll understand as you go through this. Oh, I see now why.
Oh, I look so forward to it. Thank you.
There are many that didn't want some of those that are born in those times to come through. So we had to distract, influence, hide, beings that had capacities and capabilities that others didn't have.
But she never
For
got to
the
use
present
hers.
time.
She
Going to
never-
now, going to understand this youth thing. You know, understand space and time. You're working it now. You're in it. And when we get these little seed thing and this other process there, you're going to have a greater acknowledgement of yourself. Wisdom.
Thank you.
So be it.
And this is the best one you've ever given. This is brilliant.
It's just going to get better.
Good. This is fantastic. Okay, so in the magazine and
Okay. So right now we get health to the body, mind, and spirit. And let me walk here with your heart a moment. Here, there we go. Peace, all beings. Yeah. And you notice I said, walk with your heart.
yes, I need to walk.
Okay. To walk with your heart. And then we will walk with you, with your heart. Right?
That'll strengthen my legs too.
Yes.
Okay.
Nothing over extreme. A little bit at a time. And just when you're doing it, just think you're walking with your heart. And there'll be an opening back here in the grand chakra. And you'll have another appreciation of your body and yourself. So be it.